Joe. My dad is really trying to make Christmas special this year, but Grandpa keeps hurting his feelings. Last year, he said Daddy's prime rib was burnt and raw at the same time, and when Grandma tried to chew it, Grandpa said she looked like a bulldog eating a wasp. Mom says I can't watch your videos because you say potty words, but Dad watches you when she's at Target. Please help my dad so Christmas don't get messed up again. Merry Christmas, Vela. P.S. Dad's turkey was really good this year, thanks to you. He keeps telling people it was his idea, but we hear him watching you on the toilet.
Hey there, I'm Joe, and this is Fork and Embers, the YouTube channel that teaches you how to cook with fire, drink responsibly irresponsible amounts of bourbon, and how to survive whatever crazy mess you and your family call the holidays. Now today we're making prime rib, and prime rib brings out the worst in your home cooks. You know, they like to treat a few $100 piece of meat like a frozen lasagna, and they wonder why it's not cooked evenly. We're talking about that gray band around the prime rib that plagues pretty much every prime rib that you see. It's the prime rib's way of telling you, you fucked up a little. And how many times have you heard someone say, well, on a smoker, it's kind of impossible to not get that gray band. I'm gonna be showing you the most fail-proof way of cooking a prime rib where you don't get that gray band. And we're gonna be using the Weber Smokey Mountain, but you can pretty much cook this thing anywhere. The oven, the offset smoker, the pellet grill, even your electric smoker sitting out on the porch humming like a sad robot. If it heats up, you can make this prime rib. All of my recipes and show notes are on the Patreon. Now let's see if we can help Vela's grandpa keep that little hole in the center of his face shut this Christmas. I almost forgot.
This Christmas, reward yourself with the Fork and Embers Apron, crafted for pitmasters who simply cannot help themselves. The Wood Chip Soaker, the gentleman who believes poultry cooks better atop a beverage container, and the lad who enjoys a few too many beverages, then forgets he lit a fire at all. This first edition apron is limited to just 50 pieces. Order now at forkandembers.com. Even if you haven't the faintest idea what you're doing, you can at least look like you do.
All right, so I went and got me a prime rib, went to my butcher. This thing's not cheap, it's about $20 a pound. That's pretty damn expensive. So you better make sure you really love your family. Now, this one's about 9 pounds. The size that you're gonna need is dependent on how many people are at the party. I'd say for a boneless, you can get about 3/4 a pound per person. For a bone-in, you want about 1.25 pounds. It's so cold out here, this eggnog is starting to turn to fucking pudding. Hey, you can't beat that Dollar General eggnog, come on now. Now, what I wanna start off with is trimming this steak. They remove the bones for me. Sometimes they'll tie them back on there. I mean, it's really just what you want. You know, just ask them. You'll see that there's a lot of fat right here on the end and on the top. You know, don't cut down to the red meat, but take some of that fat off because I don't personally enjoy it. I don't think it, you know, adds a very nice bite. So let's start off by trimming the top first. What I like to do with this fat here is put it in a saucepan, cook it down on low heat for a while, and you'll get some really nice beef tallow out of it. And you can also, these turn into little beef chicharrones or something. You know, they're amazing. Pure heart disease. The thing about prime ribs is they actually weren't originally a Christmas dish, and it wasn't an American thing either. It's more British. They would serve these prime ribs in the winter to kind of represent their prosperity for that year. You know, it's kind of their way of saying, look here, we had a pretty good damn year. Now enjoy this prime rib. Another thing, this thing is called a prime rib, but you know, it dates way older than the grading system actually. You know, like your select, choice, prime. Like I said, this is a choice. Just because it's a prime rib doesn't mean that it is prime. There we go. I want to make sure I don't get into any red meat here. Yeah, we're looking pretty good. You just want to make sure there's nothing thick. You know, and if you're unsure, just stop cutting into the damn thing because you're gonna end up with a mess that you can't really rectify. Round that off a little. Now, I'm running into a situation here where there's a little bit more fat here than there is over here. So in that case, I'm not gonna continue to shave this off because I want a uniform shape, so don't worry about it. Fuck it. And you really don't gotta touch the bottom. I recommend cooking it without the bones on it because I like getting a nice crust and bark all around the whole piece. If you have the bones on here, you don't get no crust. I don't get it. I'd rather just have this right here, get good bark on it. All right, so next we're gonna be trussing this prime rib. Trussing is very important because it allows us to create an even shape, which creates an even cook. And also, if you look here, you have a muscle on the outside of this prime rib called the spinalis. And as that temperature hits this prime rib, the spinalis will wanna actually separate naturally. So trussing it, make sure it doesn't separate. I'd say get you a string that's about 3 times the depth of this thing. That's probably more than you need, but it's always better to have more than less. Now, trussing is a really old technique that they would do when they would cook these things over an open hearth, and it would be on a spit or something. So trussing it made sure that it stayed in one piece. So you'll have a top string and a bottom string. Take this right hand here and put it like this, right? Take this finger, these 2 fingers here, open it. You're gonna put the string right here over it, and then you're gonna turn. Reach over and grab this. Pull through, and then tighten it down. I don't know if that's called a slip knot or what, but we still have a top and a bottom here. So now instead of your right hand, take your left hand, 2 fingers like that, wrap around, like so. Reach through, grab this one, and tighten it down. All right, so I changed the camera angle a little for you and turned the brightness up so you can see a little better. I'm gonna show you one more time. Now this piece will probably need about 3. Now a lot of people might do what you call a surgeon's knot and just tie it down. I feel like it doesn't get as tight as it should. I feel like it loses some of the, the resistance that we need. So look here, you're gonna take your right hand, this hand here, put it under the bottom one, like that. Then make like a, like a finger gun. Top rope goes over and under, twist, and then you're gonna reach through and grab. If I can figure out the name of this knot, I'll just link a tutorial video for you. And that should go, tighten down pretty good. It might be called a slip knot. You have this top one here, bottom one. Take these 2 fingers like this, around, reach through, grab that, tighten it up, cut it off. Boom. I gotta do one more, so, maybe the editor keeps it in, maybe not.
Pack the bags, we're going on a guilt trip.
Hand here, finger out, boom, 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 so fast, look at that. I think it might be called a slip knot though. Now that thing's not going no place. See there? We're in good shape now. So for the seasoning, we want to go with something that's really different, but not too insane. There's only a couple ingredients in this. And we're gonna go with some porcini. Now, porcini is a mushroom that's deep, rich, earthy. It's gonna give you some really nice natural umami. We wanna do 4 tablespoons, I think, for something this big. I've never found this stuff in a store. I just order it from Amazon. Next up, in order to obviously bring the flavors out, I done froze this motherfucker shut. We wanna do some salt, and we wanna do half of the amount of porcini. So we wanna do 2 tablespoons. Next, just to add a little bit of bite, we wanna do 2 tablespoons of coarse black pepper. We'll do 2 teaspoons of onion powder. And we're gonna do 2 teaspoons of garlic powder. Onion and garlic powder are gonna kind of bridge the gap between the umami and the thyme. We're gonna be using dried thyme leaves, and we're also gonna do 2 teaspoons of that. So the thyme really lifts the porcini because it's really light, floral, herbal. Think of it as the wings beneath the recipe, or the rub, the seasoning. Kind of lifts everything up a little. Mix it up real good. I like to give it a taste. You know, rubs usually taste a little different dry. Crush any clumps out of it. Yeah, get a little bit of. Oh yeah, that's good. But like I said, it does taste differently after it's cooked. Let's season the prime rib. I'm using avocado oil, which is a neutral oil, but you can use olive oil, doesn't matter. And this is just going to allow that rub to stick a little bit better. It's so cold outside here that my meat's not sweating that much. I mean, even this oil is setting up a little bit. Crazy. But rub it all around, get a good coating on there. Then get your seasoning. And we'll start getting a good coating all across it. I like to season with my hands because that porcini is very fine. And if you go to pour that seasoning on, you might end up with a lot more of it, you know, the porcini powder than anything else. So, and you can go for really thick coating here too. Let's get the edges here real nice. And you can use a lot of salt on these things. You're not gonna oversalt it. Damn near impossible. Never seen it happen. Looking pretty good. Pretty uniform. Let's move this over here. Now what you can do is set this aside, and I'm gonna give you pretty much two trains of thoughts here. One, let that set in the refrigerator so the temperature stays really low. A lot of people believe that the lower that temperature is, the longer it'll be exposed to smoke flavor. You know, maybe. I'm not a scientist. Maybe Chris Young can answer that question. Or two, bring it up to room temperature, which I'm not gonna be able to do out here when it's fucking cold. But bring it up to room temperature and it'll cook more evenly. I've not noticed a difference doing one or the other. I'm just gonna leave it sitting out here in 30-some degree weather while I get the smoker started. So if you come with me, I'll show you how we do that after I clean all this up. So simply, the way we want to cook this prime rib is low and slow, about 225 to 250. This is going to contribute to a really even cook throughout the entire piece of meat. This is going to be why you don't have a gray band around your prime rib. For those of you using the Weber Smokey Mountain, you want to take some unlit charcoal and you want to fill the bottom of the smoker up. Next, you're going to take about a handful, maybe a handful and a half of charcoal, about 8 briquettes, put it in a charcoal chimney, you're going to light it. Next, you want to fill up the water pan. Now, we have to use the water pan for this smoke because the Weber Smokey Mountain leaks like a cheap garden hose. In order to keep that temperature really low consistently, we're going to put water in the pan so that it controls the temperature inside a little bit better. I was going to use my water hose, but apparently it's so cold out here it froze over. So I had to make a couple trips with some jugs of water. It took about 3 gallons of water to fill that pan up. I have the 22-inch Weber Smokey Mountain. Once your charcoal's lit, go ahead, toss it in the center of your unlit charcoal. Then take you some wood and put it in the bottom of the charcoal, somewhere where it's not gonna all light at one time. You know, you want it to kind of burn throughout the cook. I'm using cherry wood. This is beef, use what you got. I mean, you can use anything as strong as mesquite, hickory, doesn't matter. Just use whatever you have. Then when it reaches about 8 to 10 degrees from the internal temperature that you want, we're gonna remove it. For us, we're gonna do 120 today. The internal temperature is probably gonna raise up to about 128, 130, and that's perfect, that's what we want. Once it hits 120, we're gonna take it off and we're gonna let it rest for about 45 minutes. This is the next thing that's gonna contribute to a really evenly cooked prime rib. With the Weber Smokey Mountain, we're gonna break it down and turn it into a grill. What that means is we have to take the cooking chamber off, take the top grate, put it over top of the coals, let that fire catch over the next 45 minutes, then take that prime rib. Your truss might burn off at this point, not a big deal because it's cooked. I've not really had it burn off, so if that happens, not a big deal. Sear it nicely on all sides because you want to really get an even bark. And if you start to see that fat on the top separate, it's okay, it's still gonna be delicious. After that, take it inside and we'll enjoy it. You have to come up off that, little buddy. Closing it out, so I'll dial the bourbon back a little. We got a light up festivity, like a Christmas parade to go to. Can't be rocking before I get there. Yeah, a lot of people think the only way you can get a prime rib cooked like this is to sous vide it. They wrong. Let's give it a try though. Dull ass knife strikes again. What I like to do, hit it with a little salt because you know you can't season the inside before you cook it really. Guess you could brine it, but we'll give it one more taste for a good measure. You know what the wife and I like to do with the prime rib? I like to vacuum seal it the day of. Next day, take it out, sous vide it, toss it in a skillet and sear it. One of the best ribeyes you ever eat. Beautiful looking prime rib. From coast to coast, not a lick of gray. So what's contributing to that is the low and slow cook. So whether you're doing it in the oven, smoker, you know, whatever. Do it low and slow, 225 to 250. Let it cook up to your internal temperature and it's gonna come out looking perfect. Let it rest. That rest is important because we want that heat to travel inward and outward. We want it to stabilize. We don't want to be trying to sear it while the temperature is still coming up because it is going to have some carryover cooking. This thing here rose by 8 degrees. This thing came out to about 130 to 135. It's perfectly medium rare. I need to get some knives. All right, there's a butter knife. But you know what? Cut like butter. Time to move to coffee. God damn. Woo! That's strong. The wife got me a coffee from Louisville, Kentucky. Sunnergall's best coffee I've ever had. That's her way of telling me, chill out on the bourbon. And that's your Christmas prime rib right there. Little Vela's dad, I hope you're watching from somewhere else other than the toilet. Stand up, my man. You're one long video away from sitting on a donut pillow. As for Grandpa, if he's still complaining, he's the problem and he just likes to complain. You know, we all got those type of people in our family that come over for the holidays. Unfortunately, when it's your grandpa or daddy, you gotta live with it. Now, Merry Christmas from Fork and Embers, you know, Joe. And may your Christmas be merry and your eggnog strong. I know your roast is gonna be perfect. Also, look here. This is all real. Alex and Ashley McGuire. They had a debate that Joe's studio was a green screen. This shit ain't a green screen. It's all real. It's authentic. But I'll catch you next time. Merry Christmas. Oh, and go get you one of these first edition aprons. You know what I'm saying? Designed by me. You're welcome.